And here we are again. I've decided to come outside. It's awkward. I have neighbours who could potentially hear me, and it's awkward. So I have a glass of juice, and I'm going to tell you a story. You will hear trains. You will hear blurs. Yes, blurs. Trust me, I've only had a sip of my juice. I'm fine. I have a few things that I would like to mention because as I've been progressing on my minimalistic journey, I have noticed a few things that have been bothering me. And as it's the only thing that I can do, I'm going to rant about them right now. Strap yourselves in. So, first order of business, my clothes have been disappearing. We've spoken about this previously, and I will now go into detail about it again. Since then, I have actually bought 4 items of clothing, which you might think, doesn't that go against your minimalistic journey thing that you talked about? No, and let me tell you why. So I've decided to put some rules through, as usual, around how I want to buy my clothes. Yes, my magic notebook is here with me again. I have all the research written out because I'm fancy and smart that way. So I say. So I did some research about fast fashion, and I wanted to find out what I could do to avoid supporting evil corporations and companies who want me dead, for example, amongst other things. Now, my rules. There are a few, so hold on to your seats. First off is reduce the amount of bought clothes. As mentioned previously, I got rid of so many things that I noticed exactly what I was missing. Tops, for example. I'm basically wearing the same 4 tops over and over and over again. I showed 5, I meant 4. So I bought 2 more tops, they haven't arrived yet, and they are different, and they are something that I will wear most hopefully. And most importantly, I bought them cheap and secondhand. Making sure that you have clothes that you actually need in your life, very important. Trust me, so important. But still, that brings me to that second point of wear your damn clothes. I can't stress this enough. I have too many people that I know, and I've witnessed do this, who buy things and never wear them. If you don't think it looks good on you, don't buy it. Please. I understand it may be cheap, I understand it might be a steal, but that's exactly what corporate greed is as well, bro. That's the whole point, and you're still feeding these evil corporations. So how about you don't buy it, you don't feed the corporate evil organizations, and then you buy something for yourself that you'll actually wear on like Depop or in a thrift store. And that brings me to that next point of buy things differently. Don't feed the evil corporations, buy from secondhand, buy from thrift stores, buy from resale sites. There are many options. You don't have to shop unethically all the time. I get it. High street fashion, it's alluring, it's fresh, it's unused, it's clean. Yeah, it's unethical. There are people who, because of this high street fashion, can't afford to live. High street fashion isn't glamorous. It's not everything you want in your life. And it's surely not everything that the people who are underpaid in making these stupid clothes want for themselves either. Another way to attain clothes? Swapping them. Hand-me-downs are nothing to be embarrassed about. I have an older sister and plenty of older cousins, which means I've always been the hand-me-down kid, and that is nothing to be embarrassed for. And then in terms of buying things ethically, we go to the next one. Check your shops. There is a site called Good On You, which I discovered recently while doing my research. They do research into clothing brands and tell you what is ethical, what isn't. They give you very descriptive information about what the place does and how they make their clothes and what's good about it, what's bad about it. Naturally, this is one source of information. So just using Good On You might not be enough. Do your own research. Make sure that the people who your company supports are good people. Make sure that their values are your values. Say you're LGBT and your company is supporting anti-LGBT. I don't know. I don't really feel like fueling people who don't want me to exist. There's something about buying a £14 pair of shoes that will last you for maybe 3 months and look good for maybe 2 hours, and then buying an £80 pair of shoes that will last you for years and look good for years. That difference is huge, and being able to put in just slightly more money and get something better, get something greater, get something that's better for you. Treat yourself. It's a present not only for you and your body that's going to be wearing these items, but also for the ethical brand that helped produce them and are trying to make the world a better place. Why not support it? And with that, I bought those 4 items that I mentioned previously. So this skirt I bought it Depop as the other 3 items that I bought, so there's no difference there. Point is, they're all Depop, they're all resale. The people that I communicated with, they're all lovely. I managed to make something out of my wardrobe without making the world a slightly worse place. Anywho, that's all about clothes. Now I'll move on to something else that I've noticed over these past weeks. Upon uploading videos, I noticed just how much stuff is going on in my YouTube account. Well done, Gabby, you can speak clearly. I look through my emails, I look through my apps, and the abundance of just nothingness is astronomical. I have playlists upon playlists of stuff that is urgent, but I've never seen in my life. And what's the reasoning behind that? Personally, if I see that there's an abundance of something, I tend to ignore it, because I'm that kind of person. I'll push something down until it's gone from my mind, at the very least, and then pretend that it doesn't exist until I eventually forget about it. And no, that's not a very healthy coping mechanism. Don't adapt that, please. So I decided to put it to a change. I've gone through my YouTube playlists and I've deleted them all. I've made one for music that I actually use, and one for inspiration that I actually use. Everything else I've deleted. For what reason, you may ask? Well, it feels good. Being able to go through my YouTube channel and not see just so much information that bombards you completely and makes you think about all of these other things, it's helpful. I don't want to sit through 8 hours of stuff that I don't care about. And along with that, there's not just YouTube, it's books that I have, it's manuals, it's apps that I want to use but never will. If you want to do something, do it. Make it a task. Go for it. Maybe it'll become a habit and hobby of yours. But the point is, if you don't start, it won't just happen out of itself. You have to put that first step to it and then continue on the ladder. Otherwise, you'll just be there with this abundance of stuff waiting behind you that you won't look back to. Which is why I'm going through it. I'm really going through it. I'm going through my apps. Honestly going through my apps. If there's anything that I don't care for, it's off and it's out. I'm going through my photos, I'm going through my Google Drives, I'm going through everything that has too much, and I'm sorting it through. The overwhelming amount of information and stimulation that is required to be part of this generation messes us up. Mental health in terms of sensitivity and intensity in social media isn't mentioned. It's a taboo subject. People talk about how social media is a bad thing, but they don't do anything about it. People take social media breaks and need to return after a week or two. I'm one of those people. But why? If social media bombards you, then do something about it. At this point, all of us are addicted to it. I want to be on social media. That being said, it's horrible, and I try to stay off it as much as I can. If there's something that I don't want to think about in my life, then I definitely don't want to see it on my phone. And if I don't want to see it on my phone, I can get rid of it, because that's how phones work. There's no harm in deleting somebody from your contacts that you just don't want to have any contact with anymore. There's no harm in blocking someone that you don't want in your life anymore. There's no harm in that. Because if they so much as try and say, hey, why did you block me? There's a function that exists for a reason. If it wasn't there, I wouldn't use it. Hey, little fly. The sun is setting. It's quite romantic, wouldn't you say? Cheers. And so again, I'm urging you to think about what's troubling you. What there is too much of, and what you can get rid of to clear your mind. Tabula rasa, clean slate. It's a concept that is overlooked, I feel, in our time. Modernity hurts us, doesn't it? Being able to look at social media and not have my initial thought be, oh, this is way too much for me to handle. Hey, do you know how nice that is? It's crazy nice. Being able to look forward to buy ethical clothing and support smaller brands, it's so exciting. I understand that being a young adult is hard. You want to afford everything, but it's not very easy. You feel like you need to support this corporate greed to be able to survive. You don't. I find it way more appealing and interesting to go to a thrift store and find these amazing finds for basically dirt cheap, not gonna lie, rather than going to a high street store and knowing the background of the clothing and knowing how long it will probably last and how rich the people who own these brands are and can't shell their wealth. Boycott the billionaires. Make the tiniest progress within yourself and see how you feel. Sunset is nigh. It is getting dark, and I don't want to be eaten alive by mosquitoes, so I will be leaving you to think about it. Just go through your social media, decide what makes you feel negative about it, and think about getting rid of it. I've got to go. I've got more dues to attend to. Lovely talking to you. Lovely spending the sunrise with you. I'll cheers you one more time. See you later.